we have this belief that they sprung sort of full bore from this religious, moralistic place around abortion or around school prayer, which of course, organized school prayer was essentially outlawed by the Supreme Court in 1962, but it wasn't that. And in fact, the founders of the religious right, Paul Weyrich, who's been mentioned already, Jerry Falwell, Richard Viguerie, and others, really made it very clear that they had been trying to organize around that. They tried to organize around the ERA, pornography, school prayer, and even a little bit around abortion, but none of that stuff really worked. Instead, you have people like James Dobson, who said, for instance, when it came to abortion, that the Bible was silent on it, that it wasn't really the issue, and that Christians could, evangelicals, it was fine for them to believe, these are his words, a developing embryo or fetus is not a full human being. So that wasn't their thing. It wasn't about saving babies, quote unquote. It wasn't about this desire to say our Father who art in homeroom over the school speakers at 8 o'clock in the morning when the kids walk into the building. It was about something else. And the thing it was about, and we need to keep this front and center, was indeed, as it so often is, racism and racial resentment. They were upset that the government was moving to strip tax exemptions from segregation academies, K-12 schools that sprung up in the wake of Brown v. Board, and then colleges like Bob Jones University over in South Carolina that initially banned entry to Black students, but then finally let them in, but then there was no interracial dating. They were restricted in terms of other rights and privileges. And when the government stepped in to take that tax exemption away, that is what really prompted the growth of the right. Paul Weyrich actually said this. He said, quote, "What galvanized the Christian community was Jimmy Carter's intervention against Christian schools, trying to deny them tax-exempt status on the basis of so-called de facto segregation." Now, it wasn't so-called, it wasn't de facto, it was explicit, but the point that's relevant for our purposes is listen to the rhetoric they used. What they argued was it was an infringement on their religious liberty. That is their move. They reframed the right to discriminate, the right to hate, the right to exclude, the right to restrict other people's liberty in the name of their own religious freedom. That is their go-to move in every generation. They want to sanctify racism in the name of the Tower of Babel story or whatever other biblical admonition they can use to justify racial separation. And it's important to understand that because it is in a long history of white rage, reactionary politics that is not about religion. It is not about God. It is about a desire to maintain white male domination. It is explicitly racist.